Alrighty, folks. I'm going to be bringing you two videos here. This is going to be part one. And what I'm doing is I'm preparing Blaze here to pony another horse. So I guess you could call it the foundation of ponying another horse, ponying a pack horse, and kind of an introduction to roping. They all kind of work the same. We do a lot of rope work. It's just one of the tools of our trade. We're always roping a horse, roping a cow. They're just part of our everyday life working with horses. So I do a lot of rope work with horses, get them used to ropes. They can't be scared of them. They can't have a fear of them. So one of the very first things I do if I'm going to be ponying another horse, the thing that will inevitably happen is you will get a rope under your horse's tail. Pack horses go from side to side, and it'll naturally work up in there, and it'll do it when you least expect it. And right here, I've got the rope around Blaze's neck and the saddle horn, and I threw it over his back and kind of worked it up there and got it under his tail. You want to be kind of careful. You don't want to pull it too hard. You don't want to rub it back and forth. He's kind of sensitive about his tail anyway, so he clamped down on it pretty quick. So you don't want to just pull on it too hard because that is a tender skin under their tail, and you can rope burn them. When we first started Blaze, we did a lot of this work with him, but over the past 2 years, he hasn't really been ridden that much, probably not more than a handful of times. So in the next video, I'll be using him to pony Cowboy, hauling fence materials, and I really wanted to do kind of a refresher course with him, just to get him used to it. And he's kind of a high-strung horse, so it doesn't take much for his emotions to get away from him. So I wanted to make sure that he kind of had a refresher course here on this. And he kept wanting to come into me. He knows what to do. He knows that if he comes into me, that I'll take the pressure away. But he was still just a little bit too excited. And he finally let down emotionally there, as much as he does. And I took the rope out underneath his tail. Here I'm going to do the other side, just kind of balance him out. The old question is, what came first, the horse or the rope? And I'm pretty sure the rope came first. They're just part of our everyday lives. Reins are ropes, lead ropes are ropes, and horses should just be used to them being anywhere on their body. I really pay a lot of attention to the oh no me spots. There's a lot of horses out there that you can do a whole lot of things with, but they have oh no me spots that you can't do anything with. So as I'm working a horse and just continuing a horse's education, I find those spots and really work on them. And one of them is his tail. He's always been kind of touchy about his tail. So this is really good for him to kind of continue his education. Here you can see he kind of calmed down about it. I'm just going to work that rope back and forth, get him over being real dancy. And I'll go ahead once he calms down and take that rope out underneath his tail. I didn't include all the video as always because it would just be forever. This whole session here with him is probably a little over an hour, so didn't think y'all wanted to watch it all. Here I am just working the rope back and forth. Anything you can do to get your horse kind of tangled up in ropes, uh, get them used to ropes, particularly if you're going to rope off of them. And, people say, well, he's a Tennessee walking horse. You're not going to be roping off of him. There's no telling what we'll be doing with him. And every horse, you should be able to do anything you want to off of them. That's my philosophy. When you're out in the back country, you don't ever know what's going to happen. If a pack horse gets loose, you may have to take and rope off of them. You just want your horse really comfortable with whatever it is that you tend to do in a day. And this is just a really good way here to get a horse used to ropes, get them tangled up in them. I've got it run down between his legs. I will move it from side to side, and you can see him. He'll get kind of excited here about this on this side, whereas on the other side he wasn't really worried about it being up between his back legs. And you don't have to follow my prescription. You can take and do as much or as little as you want, and it really depends on the horse. You take Spurs, for instance, our big black and white horse. He don't care where the ropes are at on him. He don't get excited. He's just not an excitable horse. I've had calves run under him after I've roped them, and he don't care where the rope's at. Blaze here, on the other hand, is an excitable horse. He's more of a ball, so it doesn't take much to get him going. So I'm just getting him tangled up in the ropes, and I did a lot more with him than what I included in this video, just because I didn't want to bore you guys and make it an hour-long video. Here I'm just getting him to drop his head, getting him to bring his emotions down. Really good practice to get a horse to manage their emotions. Get that adrenaline level to drop. Here I'm going to start just throwing a rope around them. And this is where I start if I'm going to be roping off of a horse. Generally, when I'm starting a horse, I'm working a horse, we throw ropes up over their back. But if I'm going to take and continue their education, this is where I'll start before I ever get on them. The ropes make noise. They take and will smack a horse. Right here you'll see his rope's coming at him and he wants to move into me, and I tell him, no, you're not going to come into me. And that's something, if your horse is really not that far along in their training and they don't know to stay off of you, when they see that rope coming at them or something coming at them off that offside, it will really push them into you. So you got to be kind of careful of that. Is again just working both sides of the horse, making sure we balance this horse out, making sure he's okay with the rope on both sides. It's always a constant when you're training horses. If they're more sensitive on one side than they are the other, you spend more time over there. It's all about balance. You see there, he tried to come into me again, and I'll just drive him off of me. Driving a horse, long lining them, what some people call it, is another really good way. When we first started Blaze's training, we used long lines on him, lunged him, drove him, even dragged a tire with him when he was younger. And it's just a really good way to get a horse used to ropes. Also, I think driving and even if you're not going to ever pull a buggy or anything like that, they're not ever going to be a draft horse. It's just a really good way to put a foundation on a colt before you ever step into the saddle. You can get a horse really soft. You can instill a lot of quietness in an animal just driving them. So it's a really good tool to use. when you're training a horse. I know a lot of people don't ever do it, but if you've got one that's real excitable, it's just a really good way to add some resistance by dragging a tire or dragging something, and they learn to be quiet. So here I am. I'm just going to take and get on him, and I'm just going to move the rope around, touch him everywhere with it. And you can see he kind of gets worried about it. Everything changes when you get on their back. You can put a really good foundation on them, but once you add that level of you getting on their back and start moving around, it changes everything. A lot of times a horse will be totally fine with something when its feet ain't moving, but as soon as its feet start moving, they start having issues with it. So just because a horse is okay with it standing still doesn't mean they'll be okay with it once their feet get to moving. Always remember that. So here I just working the rope around, getting him used to me just moving the rope. Everything you do with a horse is going to help them get calm about things. Here I'll touch him all the way around, wrap a rope around him, but as you can see, he's just standing still. Once you had that element of him starting to move his feet and his mind starts going, then it can get out of control. So you want to be sure that you're in control, that you're set up to be in control, that you're not just on a loose rein and you're not prepared for something to happen. Even though I'm in this little confined area, it could get out of control pretty quick. Just moving it around. So I did a lot of that, and I didn't include a bunch of it again. Just take your time with it. Don't get in too big of a hurry. As he progresses in his training and gets a little bit more quieter, the more time we beat on him, then I'll start kind of letting him step into the loop and start getting that rope up and under him. And not quite ready for that yet emotionally, and that's part of being a trainer. You just have to know what your horse can handle and can't handle. There's no sense in blowing a horse up if you don't have to. Put a foundation on them and get them much as prepared as possible, but I'm not just going to blow him up for the sake of blowing him up. Here I'm just reaching back and grabbing his tail, rubbing him right at the base of his tail, his dock, and you can see he kind of bunches up. He doesn't like it a whole lot. This is something that I really like to do with these touchy horses. Just reach back and grab them. And as his head comes up, he runs into the bit. He's a real short-necked horse, so I'm really not pulling back on him. It's just his head's coming up and he's running into the bit. So he kind of bunching up. And every time I reach back there, he brings that head up. So now I've got his tail and just pulling on his tail, trying to get him to relax about it, not to be so touchy about it. And as I'm riding him around, letting him move his feet, because these things are going to happen once you get out on the trail and you're leading another horse. Things are going to get under his tail, and he's going to be moving his feet. He's not going to be standing still. So a lot of things can happen. Just pulling on his tail, and I'm just looking for him to relax under me and not be so worried about it, not be so bunched up. It's kind of hard to show you how nervous he really is. He chomps at the bit. He's really nervous about it, trying to figure out if it's okay or not. So once he kind of relaxes, then I'll kind of take it away. Here, I'll reach back, grab his tail, and I always try to set myself and the horse up to succeed. So I've got his head kind of tipped in the direction I'm reaching, so you can kind of see it. I'm choked up on the reins so that I've got control. Particularly in these types of situations, I want to have total release kind of in 3 inches and total control in 3 inches. So I don't want to have a real loose rein until my horse kind of calms down and gets okay with things, and I can get them back into control fairly quick. So I'm setting myself up and the horse up to succeed. And here I'm just pulling on him again, just getting him to kind of calm down, kind of driving him around in a circle, just pulling on his tail. So this is the foundation of ponying another horse. This is some of the things you want to take and do. Like I said, you can do all kinds of variations of it. Get your horse tangled up in the ropes. Get the ropes under their tail. Make sure you can control them. And at the very least, they'll kind of have an idea when it happens that it's not the end of the world and they're not getting eaten. So here I'm just moving him around, getting him loosened up, and getting him to move his feet, kind of clear his head. I want to thank y'all for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this little video. Maybe it'll help somebody out there be prepared. Until next time, be not weary in well doing, for in due season ye shall reap, if you faint not. We'll see you later.